Hey everybody, Playtendoguy here, and welcome to my review of No Man's Sky Next. The whole story of No Man's Sky is one of gaming's strangest developments. Originally announced all the way back in 2014, the game looked to be something we never seen before, offering a huge amount of freedom and planets to explore. It really got a lot of people's interest piqued. Sony was also impressed as they took over publishing duties, and every next look at the game continued to impress. But the one thing that was going through people's head, just what was No Man's Sky? Was it an action game, or was it an adventure game? A lot of people didn't know. Hello Games head Sean Murray didn't help things by promising lofty things from the small development team. And alas, when the game launched all the way back in 2016, what we got was not what a lot of people expected, or even thought the game would be. And then the cracks started to show, as features that were promised did not feature in the final game, and many people considered the gameplay to be boring and repetitive. Cue the internet being the internet, and a barrage of abuse hit Hello Games' front door with threats and hordes of hate mail. The studio all went quiet with no word coming from them for months, but instead of sweeping all the negativity under the carpet, Hello Games have taken what fans have said and have been quietly working away at updating the game for the past 2 years. Over the past 2 years, the game's been getting plenty of regular updates that have improved the experience. The many different updates brought base building, photo mode and ground vehicles to the game, as well as a load of other stuff. The game finally got a proper narrative thanks to the Atlas Rising update, but now as the game is nearing its second birthday and its launch of Xbox One, No Man's Sky is now receiving its biggest and game-changing patch to date. Called Next, the update's main inclusion is one of the most requested features fans have been asking for, and that's proper multiplayer. Yes, it's finally here. Up to 4 players can join together to explore this huge galaxy of planets, and this is undoubtedly the best way to play this game, and is a huge lift the game needs, as playing with random folks or friends is an utter joy. Whether it's exploring a planet together, flying through space, or building and upgrading your gear, everything is so much better with someone by your side. You can share resources and embark on missions together, and it all makes it feel like a proper co-op game, and it all works really well. Whilst it may be hard to communicate with strangers, there are emojis to help you try and make some sort of conversation, but voice chat would be great. As for getting into multiplayer, you can jump straight into a stranger's world and join them on their adventure, or you could continue with your own save and allow players to join you. Either way, you play multiplayer, the netcode is great and you shouldn't have no problems with finding another player. Though it should be known, if you'd rather explore alone with no people joining your world, then you can turn off multiplayer if you want. When I reinstalled the game, I decided to start the game from scratch, and the changes to the game are noticeable straight from the get-go. There are now multiple different game modes to choose from. You have your normal mode, which is the standard game difficulty, which is similar to the difficulty of the launch game all the way back in 2016. There's also survival mode, which is a much harder experience with limited resources. When you die, you lose all your items in your inventory. Permadeath mode is exactly what it says on the tin. Once you die, that's it, all your progress is gone. So the mode is only really for No Man's Sky experts. We also have a creative mode, which is a relaxed version of the game, which allows you to explore and build anything with no worry of dying, and there's unlimited help and resources and no building costs. And the final mode is multiplayer, which allows you to join somebody else's game or your friends. Another new change is that you can now play the entire game, whether it's on foot or in flight, from a third-person perspective, and for me it really does change the experience and makes the game far more enjoyable, as it now feels much less lonely than the first-person perspective. The third-person perspective also leads to a raft of customization option, as you can now choose your avatar's race. Some of the examples is you can now be a Korvax, Gex or Traveller, to name but a few. You can also change your outfit and helmet with various new options, but I expect there'll be a few new customizable items with future updates. As for the beginning of the game, you still start off on a stranded planet and you have to fix your ship to escape this planet. But it feels much harder this time, as my starter planet was a toxic planet and I was constantly fighting to keep my avatar alive. And it seems I wasn't the only one to start in a harsh planet environment, as other players I talked to on forums experienced the same thing. And whilst it is a harsh couple of hours, it does teach you the basics of surviving and gives you a good idea on how to play the game, so when you finally escape the planet it feels like a real achievement. The game still sees you trying to reach the centre of the galaxy, but now there's more meaning to the game, as obviously there's a story element and there's also missions to complete now, so you feel like you're always progressing. The gameplay still sees you hoarding and crafting loads of materials to make stuff and refill your inventory, and is still as strangely addictive as ever. It's a sort of Minecraft in space, if you will. Those who didn't like the gameplay in the launch game won't be won over, as there's still plenty of crafting in this game. The game's graphics have also seen a massive overhaul and look much better and way more detailed than the launch version of the game. Planets have much greater variety to them, and the inhabitants of each planet also look great, but alas, all the new polish to the game suffers from some pretty bad technical issues. During my experience with the game, I've suffered several crashes, audio glitches, slowdown and frame rate issues. There was a patch released at the weekend which did sort out some of the frame rate issues and crashes, but whenever you land on a planet, the game still misses frames and looks rather choppy. But I'm certain in a couple of weeks this all will be sorted out. Conclusion time now, and while the original version of No Man's Sky was a victim of misinformation and the overhyped culture of today, I have to say to the developers, Hello Games, fair play to them. They could have moved on to the next game and left the game on the cutting room floor, but no, they've gone out of their way and fixed and improved the game to make the game fans really want. And with the next update, No Man's Sky feels like the game it should have been at launch. With multiplayer, new stuff to do and some great new visuals, all makes for a much better experience. The game isn't without its flaws, however, as the game is still prone to crashing and there's still a lot of slowdown. And for those who didn't like the gameplay the first time around, you're not going to be won over again. But as it is, this is the best time to jump back into No Man's Sky, and hopefully with a few more patches, the performance will improve. But as it is now, I'm giving No Man's Sky Next an 8 out of 10 with the title of Great. Thank you for watching my review, like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming, bye!